What's up guys, Lech here. Today a quick video to show you how to install the Delta Classic 500 shower wall and base set. We already did all our prep work for the plumbing and for the drain and for the water. So we did videos on that as well. So if you have to work on that as well, we have separate clips. We'll put links below. Just check out the channel. In this specific situation, I'll show you guys some clips before how this looked like, just to show you what we have to transform to get to this point. But we had to add this wall here. It's a 32-inch space. We're doing a 32 by 32 kit. There's also 32 by 36 and so on. So we had to add this wall. And you need to put these beams here that are going to hold behind the walls. It's all in the direction, so depending on what model you're installing, you want to have these cross beams here just for extra support. They're about 48-50 inches high off the floor, and then a couple is going to go here. We still got to install these. You're going to have to remove, turn off your water and remove this from the shower, as the wall will not go on if this is sticking out. Same thing if you would do like a bathtub spout, that would have to be removed as well. In this case, we don't have that because this is just a shower. We're going with the shower over the walls, so this will be coming out of the sheetrock that's going to go above it. The walls are 72 inches high. First thing we're going to do is just do a dry fit to make sure everything lines up, everything's level. So one thing you want to do is get your square, make sure that you're square over here on all the walls. You want to make sure all your walls are level, the floor is level. If your floor is not level, you will have to use mortar or leveling cement to make sure it's nice and level. In this case, we just put fresh floor, so it is. We got fresh plumbing as well, as I mentioned. And this is a caulkless kit, meaning you don't have to silicone any of the edges or nothing. If you want to go for it, but the kit says you don't. First time doing this, so it should be interesting. With the base gets glued down if you're all level with some high adhesive like liquid nail, something like this. So we'll show you that when we install it in a second. And then a few screws, it all snaps in, and that's it. So for the flooring dry fit, like I mentioned, make sure everything's lined up and square. We're actually moving this wall back in a little bit because we did 32.5 inches. We need to be at 32. And now we'll grab our walls and do the same thing. We'll start with the back wall first. So remember, remove this, turn off your water, remove your faucet before doing the dry fit walls. Some come with a plug that you can screw back on and seal it. This one didn't. We're just going to save this to the side, and now we can also do our measurements, where to cut the hole and all that. Alright, so just to show you guys, so we don't have a lot of space, this is the back wall, has shelves and everything, pretty cool setup. These are basically where your walls will snap into. This is your base part, remember that? And then same with the walls over here. This goes on top. Those are the edges that you're gonna screw down to the 2x4s, and then the sheetrock will go over it, and you're gonna sew silicone up here to the sheetrock to seal it all up. And then this will be the front edge here, and then this is the piece that snaps into there. And I'll show you guys a back view of that as well when we're installing it, before we put that wall up. But this will be a left wall when you're walking into the shower, and then we have the right one. So we're gonna start with our back wall. It's gonna snap in right to the back there. I forgot to mention, from your box that this came in, cut out a piece of cardboard and use it to protect your base. You don't want to ruin it with all the dirt and stuff. So this goes right against the edge. It's not going over the lip. It's literally going in here. It's going to be just like that. So basically, we're doing a dry fit before installing it because you want to make sure that the walls, everything is lined up and even everything's level. Otherwise, it won't click in correctly, and it will not click in. For example, like right here, right now. So the bottom didn't go in. So make sure you get the bottom in. Now we're snug, and looks like we're touching all the way even on the bottom. If something's lifting up, nothing's going to line up for you. So that's important. I'm going to get our right side now. And there's little tabs here. So basically you want to angle it, pull it to you, and then we just push it in. So actually, this is great. And this is the first time we're doing this dry fit, guys. Just for you. But as you see, nice clean. And according to the manufacturer and according to the directions, we don't need to silicone this. This is already gonna be waterproof and sealed. So this is our shower will stick out right here over. And that's that. We might have to put a little trim here as it is hollow right now because we need to screw this to the walls. And the same on this side. So if you look on this side, I'm wedging it in. Same way. I'm going inside the shower. And then just pushing it in. Just double check. Something I'm sticking out a little bit on the bottom. Better. So you have to move it around. It shouldn't be like super tight. It should be clicking in. But at this point, dry fit is good. So if you guys will notice, the walls are a little higher here. But when comparing to the bottom, I think that's how it's supposed to be. We'll play around, double check, and we'll move on. So here's a view. We just did a dry fit. And here's a view of what the back looks like. This has to snap in all the way on both sides. You can't see this once it's installed from the front, so I wanted to show you guys. So now we're gonna put up. So guys, the floor actually is not level from that side to this side. That side is a little lower, so we are gonna have to re-level it. The thing is, we did use a sheet of plywood, so all we're gonna do is adjust it under it to make sure it's all level instead of doing the cement piece. But this is why, 1/2 inch, and this is the gap it causes. And that's why everything has to be perfectly level for these type of clicking showers and bathtubs line up. Same up here. So this does have to be even. So we're gonna fix that and move on. Okay, so like we mentioned, we redid the floor. It's level now. We also installed this wall fully now at 32-inch space. Got our side spaces that we need for the walls. And this is level now. Now we can start our actual installation. Perfect. Let's get it done.
Let's get it done.
All right, so dry fit number 2 is perfect. And that's what we're talking about. Nice and flush. And nice and flush here. So now we're gonna install the base. Let that glue down. We can also measure out the hole for the shower right now. So we'll show you guys how to do that. And then we just have to add a trim here before installing the walls later. So we're gonna remove this now and work on installing the base. First you wanna mark a line with a pencil here so you know where this ends, as we're gonna be cementing it down. Alright guys, so first thing I want to do is install our base. We're going to be using, in this case, liquid nails. You want to just use a good adhesive. I feel this is more than enough for this situation. And what we're doing is we're covering the whole area. I drew myself a line like 2 inches from the edges because that's an empty space. Here's the line we drew before we moved the floor. We know where we finished. And what you want to do is cover this in this, and the adhesive you're using, or read the directions what they want you to use, and then 1/2 inch trowel, you want to even it out. So we got 4 tubes, that's all we're going to use. If it's not enough, you know, to fully cover like solid, it should be fine. And we're just going to unload now. Yeah. Gonna go a little extra here around the opening. Alrighty, so So this one is over. And now we just spread it out 1/2 inch trowel. Maybe not the best paste for this, but it will do. Okay, I'm gonna do my cardboard. Give it a walk. And now, just make sure it's leveled again. And now we're just gonna let this cure, whatever the manufacturer specs say, probably a day or so. So we'll come back next time and we'll start working on the walls. But that's how you go down the flooring. You can probably use, cement, other things as well. That was the quickest solution. So our base is solid, level, all glued down now. Worked out great. Now we can do the walls. Before that, there's a few steps. We are gonna do one more dry fit just to make sure everything's still lined up, and we have to do some measurements while we dry fit it. So we'll show you that now. All right, so we got our test fitted back in one more time. And now what you wanna do across all the beams, and of course, if you don't have beams matching up, add them. We have to add a piece here. We have to add a piece here on the bottom. But now you want to just mark lines where the walls actually end. And that is so we can measure out the silk plate gasket that goes behind there next. So that's what we're doing here. And also we're going to be drilling all these out here. These are, you want about 6 holes on each side, so I'm measuring them out 15 inches apart approximately for this size shower kit. And we're going to drill them out on both sides. And then we'll drill pilot holes here, which we have to mark as well, which I'm sorry I didn't show you guys. So you want to mark your pilot holes where we need to drill them. And we're going to do a 3/16 bit for that. Alright guys, so once the base is glued down, before we start putting in the walls, we have to still screw this down now. But do this after your glue set and dried already. So we're going to drill 3/16 pilot holes in each spot where it's going to finish the stud. And try not to drill into the wood, so the screws do that job grabbing on. Now you want to use number 8 1¼ inch stainless steel screws. You're not gonna find these, I believe, in Home Depot, maybe Lowe's, but the best deal, honestly, is Harbor Freight. You can get a whole case of it for like under $10. And we want to secure everything down now. Don't over tighten so you don't crack the plastic. You can use a hand screwdriver to give it a finish. Anywhere you see spacing, we're going to put a shim here. So I'm going to skip this one. And I'm going to use a wood shim. Finish these up, we'll do the shims, and we'll go next. Here's what you want to look like before you do the walls. Screws at every beam. Guys, so our walls are ready for installation. Next step will be a sill plate gasket. This doesn't come with the kit, so you have to get it yourself. You can pick this up from Home Depot for a roll about $4 or $5, right? Yeah. So we're going to be installing this 4 inches from the top where you marked the top of your walls, and you're gonna keep it about 2 inches above the bottom of your base here. So we're gonna cut this down and staple it down. Regular staple gun. Just like that. I'm gonna do the same thing with any other beams that you would have here. If this is a bigger wall set like the 36, you will do the same. We're not putting anything on these beams, as this is where actually adhesive will go. But we are gonna do these cross beams here. Now same idea on these walls, but you are not putting anything here or here like you did here. We're gonna run it down all the way to the edge here and 4 inches from the top. I'll do the rest and show you guys the finished product. So here's how you want to look. You're not putting anything on the edges. You're not putting the cross beams on the side walls. You're doing the cross beams, how many you have on the back wall. And same here, nothing on the edge wall. Now we'll show you how to measure out and cut out the hole for your faucet. So, you know, some people would think, you know, you want to put the wall in and kind of measure out where this ends at the wall to see where to drill the hole. But the easiest way it's going to be is actually to measure your vertical and horizontal using your base. So we're going to do 2 measurements to the middle of this, and we're going to go right from this top shelf here where your wall is going to sit on. We're going to measure this. So in my case, it's going to be 37 and a half, no, 3/8, 37 and 3/8. So I'm gonna write that down. And then now I wanna measure my horizontal, which is gonna go to the edge of this wall. So for this, I'm using a level. And I wanna make sure, thank you, Roma, that the bubbles are level here, as you see. And now I'm just gonna measure the horizontal from the middle. And it's gonna be 16 3/4, almost 16 3/4. So we'll pull it right down. Another thing you can do is before you start cutting on the actual wall, is actually get a piece of cardboard. Make sure that it reaches at least up to here. Make sure that it's square, even edges. You can put the piece of cardboard, drill the hole based on your markings, and then see if it lines up. So we might try that, and then we'll move on to the actual wall. So for making the hole, you need something like this. They make these for doing your doors and stuff like that, and they have hole kits. So you're gonna need something like this to cut the hole out evenly. We're going with the biggest size, 2.5 inch in this case, as you want to make sure basically it covers this with some space. So that's what we're gonna use. Measure out our hole now here. First, you want to make sure that this is square like we mentioned. We're going to have to cut a little tab here too. Make sure to go over this edge. Now we'll go to the edge. I'm going to take my level to double check. Okay, bottom is 37 1/4. Horizontal, we were at 16 6/8 actually, not 3/4. But this is based on our design. Obviously yours will be different depending on where your faucet is. this is where our hole is supposed to go. I'll make a hole. Get my hole maker. Should do this on the table, but this is just cardboard, so make sure you have empty space. Line up your drill bit with your X. There's our hole. And if we measure correctly, it should be a perfect fit. Look it out, guys. So now we know we're safe and secure to drill the actual wall. So which we'll do next. It's beautiful. That's cool. So get your wall with some kind of base so it's elevated for drilling the hole. Make sure you are drilling the correct wall. You have one chance of this. You mess it up, you're replacing the whole kit. Also, double check, triple check your measurements because, like I said, you have one chance. But anyway, we're going to start measuring. So we're going to start from the base. Make sure the lip is where you're measuring, not measuring from, but from the edge of the wall. This is what's going to be flush with the tub. Remember that little indent we cut out? So that's the flush part. So we're going to start from the base, which will sit on the bottom of our floor base here. And we're going to go to 37.25. And we're going to actually hover over this, since this is indented, and sit like this. And I'm just going to lock this in. I don't know if you can hold it. And I'm gonna go 37.25. Get a top view to make sure that you're correct. And now I'm gonna do the same thing from this side, which was 16 6/8. So 16 6/8. Yeah, like that. So actually we gotta come back up a little. Alright, now let's do this one again. So that's our X. I'm gonna double check this again. I'm gonna have Roman take a look with the aerial view and then we can drill it. So we confirmed our measurement, we can start drilling. If you don't have a drill bit inside your hole maker, make sure to pre-drill one as you don't want to make a mess here. But we're going to slowly start. All right. And that's it. Hole is ready. Move on to the next step. We have to install the fire retardant barrier. Purpose of this, I'm really not sure. I'm not an expert, guys, but we're gonna do as the manufacturer wants us to. So we have to flip this around. Clean this up. And just stick it on. There's 2 stickers, so we can start with one. Line this up in the middle. Now I can remove the second sticker. Drop it down. That was good. And now we just cut out the hole. Do an X. And now just cut it out. Alright, that's all set. Let's install the walls. Here you guys pre-drill all your pilot holes that we marked before we move on to the installation. 3/16 bit as I mentioned before. I'm gonna go all on this edge, all these spots. And do this for all 3 walls. So guys, before we start putting the walls on, first we have to include this gasket on the bottom here. There's the adhesive back. This does come with the shower kit. So just peel this off. And we're gonna go right under the edge here on top of the screws. You can almost go to the edge here. And we're just gonna go right under this edge, all around. When you get to the corner, make sure you get it tight in there all the way. It is rounded, so it's easy to do. And then just keep going around. Cut off the excess. And there we go. Back wall is the only wall that we're going to be using adhesive to attach it, in addition to the screws. There's no screws on the bottom, only the screws where we did the pilot holes on up top. I'm using this. This works good with the plastic as well as wood, but you can use, anything you find that works with both. So we're just going to run a bead here. Make sure to stay under the lines you marked. And we're just going to run a nice thick bead all the way down. Black wall first. Make sure you have a lane all the way on the bottom. And push it in. We should be below our lines, which we look good. The adhesive is already holding it, so it makes it easier for us. So I'm not gonna screw this down yet. I wanna pop my walls in just to make sure everything's lined up before I tighten it all. Normally you could screw this down already. I'm just personally not doing it. So we're gonna grab our walls, and actually we're also gonna see if this actually fits. So that's the stressful part. But yeah, our faucet wall first. Oops. So just like we did the dry fit before, little angle, and push it in. Give it a little push from the bottom, snap it in. Okay. We are a little off, but that's fine because we did drill the hole big enough. So I wonder, this is not all the way in yet. But that's why. So yeah. Before we tighten, we make sure we push everything in nice and tight here, as I think this part is not all the way in. And we'll get the other one now. Same thing, little angle, push in, little click, bottom. Now we can secure all the screws. Alright, so as you see guys, it did line up nicely. We just have to push it in here more. And now we just screw everything down. Some spots your beams might be too far out, so cut yourself shims, which we did here. And now same 1 1/4 inch screws. You want this to be flat over here, so it gets a good connection. Just don't over tighten with the drill, hand tighten if needed, but we're just going to shim it. Oops, well that shim is gone. So we're going to do this one first. Make sure to use your shim. Give me a little push on the wall. Okay. So we're going to go all around the top here, and then we're going to do the side walls. Guys, quick tip, when you are screwing all these in, use an extension, because if you're using a short bit, your drill will scratch up your shower base. So make sure to go all around that you are using an extension just to protect it from that. Also, when you are screwing everything down, start with the back wall first, then do the walls, the side walls. But this is pretty much it. Now the next step is sheetrock. Finish our shower head here. We're gonna do some kind of thing on the ceiling here, obviously. So guys, some final steps now. We measure the sheetrock cuts. So we're gonna install these, show you guys how to silicone around it. but first you also have to cut a hole for the shower head. So same idea, we measure it from here to here, from the top to the bottom. We got our marking. We're using a smaller hole. Got our hole. Let's make sure it fits. It looks perfect. So now we have access for the shower head, and now we're just gonna screw all this down. One thing I forgot to mention, guys, at the beginning of the video, this is inside the house. We're not facing any outside walls. But if your bathroom and the shower, let's say like if this wall was facing the outside wall, you want to put insulation back there. No, we're not using sheetrock behind this kit. That's correct. It's connected directly to the 2x4s, but you do want to insulate the walls from the cold and the heat, you know, from the outdoors. So remember to do that if you are facing outside walls. So before you pop your sheetrock on to screw it on, mark yourself lines where all your 2x4s is, so you know exactly where to screw it, so you're not drilling into empty space. We're gonna start with our back wall first. That's the one we cut first, and then we did the other ones in case there was space in here. It will just cover it easier. And then we're just using regular drywall screws. I think these are 1.5 inches. Got the sheetrock installed. Now you want to silicone the edges right here with adhesive, something water resistant. It doesn't have to be anything high end for like drains that we're going to use for draining resistance. There's really no water sitting there, but you might have splashes. So you want to seal all the connection between the sheetrock and your surround. You can paint this first if you want to and then do it, but we're going to silicone it and then paint it after, and it's the same idea. And you just want to run a nice bead on all these connecting sides. If any pins off, you can just wet your finger and just glide it. Smooth it all out. And that's it. We'll hit the other two sides and we're almost there. All we gotta do is connect the drain, put the faucet cover on, and we're there, guys. Alright guys, so that's the idea for connecting the sheetrock with the silicone. Basically, you just want to do a nice waterproof seal and you're good. And that's really all the silicone you're doing except like the drain. We are not putting any silicone in here or in here, like, or on the bottom like you typically would on these surround sounds. I did a next tile tub surround and you do it. So I have that on my channel as well if you're doing this over a bathtub. But this kit says no caulk, no silicone. This is all ready to go. We're gonna install the drain now, finish this, shower head, and then, before you start using it, you just gotta spackle this, paint it, and so on. So now we're gonna finish off our faucet assembly here and do the shower head. This is very simple, 2 pieces. We're gonna slide this right on. This is gonna go over it, cold on the right, hot on the left. There's 2 spaces for the screws, and we're gonna line up these long screws in there. Good to cut the hole big enough so you can actually see what you're doing, but this will work. I'm going to finish that off with a screwdriver so I don't overdo anything. Basically there's a gasket behind this so you get in a waterproof seal. No need to silicone this. And that's that. Now you need a hex wrench to tighten this when you pop it on. So we'll do that. But now for the shower. So for the shower, the kit we're using that I did the plumbing video on, and I have a link to the plumbing video below, came included with the shower head and everything. But we're actually not going to use the shower head. We're using a kit like this, but we are going to use the pipe that came with it. So we're going to go the long way in, short way down. And the way we're going to mount it to our copper fitting up top is using the tape or the grease pipe joint compound, or you can do both. And why not? It's going behind the wall. Let's be safe. On the outside connection where the shower head is connected, you can just use the tape. So Just wrap it around a couple times. And then I'm gonna add a little grease. And we're gonna screw this down. So here's a copper fitting, and we just get that right in there. And when you feel like you almost can't go, you definitely want to do one more turn. You can grab a screwdriver, shove it in here, and that will help you turn. Just have support here. And there we go. We're even. Now we'll connect our shower head. Same idea. Oh, don't forget, we gotta put a little cover on to make this pretty. Just like that. Tape. Can trim off the excess later. Make sure your gasket is in here, don't lose that. And this you can hand tighten, you don't need any tools really for it. And now we just set up the rest of the shower and we'll be good. Make sure you don't lose these gaskets. They also go here. Same idea. You don't need the tape because you have the gasket with these. All set. Now we just gotta install the drain plug and we're all done. Alright guys, so the last step, the drain install. We already have our plumbing set up. The second piece of this is under here already, connected to all our drainage. We have a whole video on that as well as I mentioned before, so you can check the links below on my channel to see how to set that up before actually installing the base. But basically, it looks like there's a tool that you use to tighten this. I don't have a tool like that, so my idea was I'm gonna use a couple of screws in here. And this is all inside, so I can't really crack the threading. It's gonna make them nice and tight in there. And I'm gonna use this little spackle or whatever tool, you know, like something to apply pressure, but basically to turn it and get a good solid tight. So first, the seals that need to go under, paper is gonna go down first, and then the rubber will go on top of it, and it's gonna sit against this base. So I need to get that in there. And they show you the videos on Going Deep will show you how to do this from the bottom. I'm not sure how to expect you to do this from the bottom when this is already installed, especially with this kit. There's other kits that work like that because they install from the top, but this kit doesn't do this. So we need to get that in there without damaging it. Push this down. Good. Now the rubber one. Just make sure you don't lose anything. Keep your fingers in here so you don't drop that. Okay. So we're good here. And now for these ABS or plastic type shower tubs, we are not using plumber's putty. That's a big no-no. You gotta use silicone or something of that sort. We are using this. This is supposedly even better than silicone. So this is what we're gonna use for this. And we're just gonna put a nice bead all on the bottom here. thread. Kind of grab the bottom of the drain over there to pull it up. Alright, we gotta hold. With my tool. Don't go too hard. It feels right, like when it almost doesn't want to go. And we just want to get the excess, get these screws out. Excess silicone out. Don't wet your finger like you do anything else. I'm gonna wait to put my cover until this dries a little bit. And it says it's ready for water in 30 minutes. So that's what we'll do. Guys, we gave our silicone, whatever that was, about an hour to cure. So good, we can pop our cover on now. And we are all set. Now the moment of truth. Let's test this thing out. As you see, the seams, everything supposed to be holding no water. Well, no, it doesn't. But besides that, shower looks great. Check back on our channel for other videos on this bathroom renovation. We're going to be doing the toilet, sink, flooring, tiling, and so on. For this, we're not doing a door, but you have the option to install a door on this. We're just going to do a curtain. But guys, appreciate you. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel for lots more videos like this and other great stuff. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll answer you within a day usually, or somebody else will. Thank you so much. Have a good day.